I'm Abby.
And I'm Keith.
Welcome to our 80s Life podcast.
Today, we are really excited to have one of our very good friends and probably one of the nicest guys you'll find on earth on our show today, Kristopher.
Thank you. Hey, what's up?
How are you doing?
Man, I'm blessed. I can't complain, man. You know, it's been a fantastic start to the year. I'm ready for the 80s cruise. I got my timer on. I'm ready to go, Can't wait.
It can't get here soon enough.
I know, we're so excited, except we have a lot of packing to do still. So it could get here soon enough, but hopefully we'll get here fast so we get to see you, our annual kind of a family reunion with you.
Yes, indeed.
This will be our third 80s cruise. And Jay was the first friend that we met on our first 80s cruise.
Actually, before the 80s cruise. So it was the night before. So there's a pre-party the night before, and we had connected up with Michael Felwalk, which he's the one that convinced us to go on the cruise in the first place.
Yes, Michael and Betsy, and we've had them on the show before too.
Yeah, so he's hey, I'm hanging out by the pool. Yeah, I'll find you. So we found Felwalk, and Jay was the first person that we were introduced to.
Yeah.
So wow. That's
we
awesome.
Hung out at the sail away party. I specifically remember being with you at the sail away party and thinking, all right, we've already made a friend.
That's right.
And y'all are like two of my favorite people like in the world. Like I even told my mom about y'all. I was like, man, there was these two people that I don't know. It's like you live at Disneyland. Your personalities are just so genuine and so bright and so nice. And so it's like, that's the reason why I follow you around the boat all the time. Because
we're like, man, we're always running into Jay.
That's right.
Well, okay, when you were introduced to us, they called you Jay from LA. But then we found out that you're from Houston. And I was like, oh, no wonder we hit it off right away, because we're also from Texas originally, Texas transplants. So we have that in common, too.
All right, Jay. So we have a mutual love for the 80s. So I figured before we get into talking about the 80s cruise, we're going to warm up with a few 80s questions.
Okay.
All right. So what sparked your love for the 80s?
I grew up, even though I have a little brother, I grew up an only child. And a lot of times my mom was in school. So what she would do is she would place me in front of the TV and the TV would entertain. So I'd be watching like Three's Company and Gidget and I Dream of Jeannie and Petticoat Junction and I just fell in love with the 80s just sitting in front of the TV. The Jeffersons, everybody likes the Jeffersons. I did the math, and from 4 years old to 14, that was my 80s run, because that's, I'm 47 years old now. So I think that the 80s molded my childhood.
I still think the 80s TV is the best.
I love watching the reruns.
Yes.
Yes.
And he only had one channel growing up because he lived in this small town. And so I feel like he's still learning about, I'm still I'll mention a TV show, and if it wasn't on ABC, he doesn't know what it was. So he's still learning. We're educating him on NBC and CBS
That's
shows.
Right. So I saw all the Three's Companies. I saw the Jeffersons, but man, when it came to some of those other shows, I have this blank space.
Yeah.
Like Dynasty, Knots Landing.
We're really into Dallas because
Dallas,
that's my hometown.
I didn't watch that one as a kid because that was CBS, right?
I didn't watch it as a kid because we weren't old enough, and it was pretty risque, and I wasn't really allowed to watch it. But now we've watched all through it. COVID, that was our COVID thing. Like, well, what should we do? And I was like, I know, we could watch all 13 seasons of Dallas. And we did.
I don't know if she talked me into that one.
Well, after the first season, he was hooked. He was like, you know what? He goes, this is like a soap opera for dudes.
Yes.
Right. True. There was a pop trivia question that came from that, like, who shot JR? And it lasted for forever.
Yes, big cliffhanger. The first big network cliffhanger. They kind of invented the cliffhanger.
More people watch that than watch the Super Bowl.
Yes, it exceeded the views of the Super Bowl. That's
true.
They're having a big reunion while we're on the boat. So,
we're missing it.
We went to the first Dallas reunion, but now they're having another one that has like 20 cast members from the show. So we'll be missing that one.
Yeah, but that's okay because we'll be having so much fun on the 80s.
We'll be having more fun with you, Jay, on the 80s. You love TV shows. How about movies? Did you get into 80s movies?
I did, man. I looked at Poltergeist, The Thing, Weekend at Bernie's, The Goonies, Beverly Hills Cop. I was all over the place, you know.
So were you scarred for life about clowns after watching Poltergeist?
Man, Poltergeist was crazy, man.
That scarred both of us.
Right. The clowns, the tree. You know, remember the tree that came through? One of my favorite things about the 80s cruise is when, like, let's just say you're in between shows or you want to go back to your room for a while. They always have 80s movies playing. Like, I love The Karate Kid and National Lampoon's Vacation and Back to School. And they always seem to switch it up every year. So that's cool.
Yes. And this year we have John Hughes Prom. So I bet you there's going to be a lot of John Hughes movies.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Good call on that.
Do you have a favorite one of those, like the John Hughes?
I like 16 Candles. I like the Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
We watched that one recently. It's held up really nicely. That's so funny.
Right.
Now we did discover the other day that Jay does have a movie gap from the 80s.
What?
He has not seen Better Off Dead.
Really? How do you know that?
Because I saw it on his Facebook.
Oh, you've never seen Better Off Dead?
Never.
Oh, it's such a good movie. You should watch it. I mean, it's ridiculous. And John Cusack said it was his least favorite of all the movies he made.
Well, here's what I'll say. Really? I don't think it's one of the best movies in the 80s.
It's funny.
But it's one of those that you need to see.
It's funny. Okay. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll check it out.
I want my $2. Yeah, there's a lot of like sound bites that will make a lot more sense once you've seen it. People say, I want my $2.
Yeah, I saw that post that somebody said. I said, I gotta see it now.
Okay, time to watch that.
Yeah.
All right, how about music? Do you have a favorite music artist from the 80s, or what was your first concert?
Ooh, I love Prince. I love Michael Jackson. I loved Whitney Houston, Madonna, Elton John, Hall & Oates. Which I really, really want them to go on the 80s cruise one day, even though they're fighting right now. Yeah. So my first concert was actually 90s that I remember. BBD, Johnny Gill, and Keith Sweat. So
Bill DeVoe, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, that was my favorite. 1991.
But that was a good one.
Yeah. Maybe I wasn't allowed to go to concerts before then. That's my guess, because I was young.
Yeah. I went to my first concert with my mom and dad because I was young. And I hate to brag, but it was Michael Jackson.
What?
The Victory Tour with the Jackson 5?
What?
With the Jacksons. I guess there were 6. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was my first concert at Dallas at Texas Stadium. We were on like the second to last row.
You were there.
But I was there.
You were there. I'm officially Joe. How about you, man?
I was hoping you'd ask him.
My first concert was a ladies band called Expose.
I remember them.
You remember them?
Yeah.
They're not bad.
They weren't bad, but it was a free concert. It was like put on by the radio station. So only way you could get tickets if you like won them through the radio. So we got tickets and we went and they sang like 4 songs. I mean, because at that time that was when they were just starting and they just didn't have a catalog of records yet or songs. Right. And they sang their 2 or 3 songs they had and they sang a couple covers and then it was over. I'm like, is that it?
What was their hit?
It's a Point of No Return.
Oh, taking me to the point of no
return. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah. They don't sound so bad now.
They're not bad.
Yeah. That's cool.
All right, Jay. So if someone pulled up in the DeLorean and said, hey, you have the chance to go back in time and go back to the 80s. First, would you go? Would you do it? And if you said, yeah, I would go, where would you go and what would you do?
Man, so if I had to go back in time, am I my age now, or do I go back to the time where I was that age?
I'd say you go back as your age now.
Okay, yeah, because then you can go to whatever concerts you want.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to spoil it. I know this is like a wholesome thing, but I would walk up to myself immediately and say, invest in Google. Apple.
Amazon.
I'd be all about money. Stock
tips.
Exactly, stock tips. I'd be all about it. I don't know, man. I would just go experience the atmosphere because it seemed like back in the 80s, people were less judgmental of each other. And I think that the internet, per se, that gives us a peek into each other's lives is kind of like a little bit too much. And back in the 80s, it was a mystery. You know what I'm saying? You didn't know everything about everybody. So you had to go up to somebody and talk to them to get to know them. So I think that we lose some of that with social media because there's an organicness to the 80s, which is the reason why I like the 80s cruise is because I purposely don't log on to any laptops or any internet. And I like focusing in the present with the people and the atmosphere, and that because it gives me a break from the regular world and it literally transports me back to the 80s. And so I really want to take full advantage of that. So that's my thing.
You know, it seems like kids today worry about things that I never worried about as a kid or even a young adult because I was just ignorant to it, you know?
Right.
Ignorance is bliss.
And it was bliss. It was great. It's like, you know, like you said, when you have this little handheld device that you can get access to anything, it's like, I don't know if that's good or not. I mean, I liked it when it was just simple and, you know, you didn't worry about all the stuff. You didn't have all the anxiety and all the stress that you have today because those things weren't on your peripheral things you were worried about.
Exactly. You just didn't think about that. So not having access to the world was actually a good thing because you get to grow up in the environment that you were in.
You're right that I never thought about it, but that's probably a big part of why we enjoy it so much is just a chance to unplug. It really is the closest thing you're going to get to going back in time.
Yeah. Real talk.
Yeah. So what was your first year that you went on the 80s cruise? You graduated our freshman year. So now I have to do some math real quick.
I know.
So you graduated 2022 because we were at your graduation.
Yeah.
And then, but they skipped 2021. So, and then you said you were on 2020, 2019. So maybe like 2019 or 2018.
That would be 2018.
2018.
I think that might have been my first cruise. Yeah. I missed the one with Billy Ocean. But I've been there. I know. I
heard he was really good.
I hope they bring him back. So Jay, how did you first hear about the 80s cruise and what made you decide to go the first time?
I saw it on Facebook. I saw there's this in my algorithm because I know I watch a lot of 80s stuff online. My algorithm said, "Hey, come join us at the 80s cruise." And this was last year's lineup. And I was like, "What?" And at the time, I think I was turning 40. So, and I did not have the money because I did not have the job that I have now. And so I was like, I really want to go on this 80s cruise. And so I literally did a GoFundMe for my first 80s cruise. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's
and
amazing.
I was 40 years old. So I would say, hey, if you're going to donate, if you want to buy me a drink, put that money towards the 80s cruise. And I raised like $4,000 and I went.
Yay, that's so cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So did you know anybody that was going on this cruise or did you just go out on your own and just go for it?
0%.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And what the funny thing is now everybody knows Jay. So, you know, Jay went from knowing zero to knowing probably 90%.
Because we walk around with Jay on the cruise and everybody's like,
"Hey Jay,
what's up? Jay from
Hey man, to me it's like a stray dog that you feel sorry for out in the street.
No.
Everybody knew I was by myself. They was like, "Who is that guy sitting on the corner by himself?" And I'd be crying at the dinner table. I'd be like, "Hey, no friends."
Don't listen to him. He knows everybody on the cruise. Last year, we were too shy to go and talk to Tone Loc. And Jay's like, you got to do it. You got to do it. Get him to record a video for you guys for your channel. And we were too shy to talk to him. And then the next day, Jay comes up to us. And are you, I think you had it on your phone.
It was on his phone.
He's like, hey, I got something for you. And he shows me his phone. And it's Tone Loc videoing a message for us, for our channel.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? This is OG Tone Loc in the house. Welcome to 80s Live, y'all. Peace.
That was cool.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
So I admire your bravery to just never meet a stranger. Just introduce yourself, talk to people, whether they're famous, whether they're just a regular cruiser. I admire that. That is a hard skill. Not everybody has that, and you're really good at it.
Well, I'll say this. I'll say that, okay, thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. But in that particular instance, you guys were my friends. And so my love for you overshadows my fear of speaking to Tone Loc to get him to say it. I was like, you've got to do this, man. And he did. He was cool about it. He didn't even give me any resistance. There was no bad vibes like, oh, okay. But he was like, yeah, I'll do it, so
That's
you deserve
so cool.
it.
It was like 2 a.m. at the pizza place.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
That's when all the fun stuff happens, about 2 a.m.
Everything good. After midnight at the pizza.
That's right.
If you're new to the 80s cruise this year, freshman, after midnight, maybe we shouldn't tell them our secret.
That's right.
I know.
Now everyone's going to be
Go
there.
to the pizza buffet. Or it's not even I guess it's a buffet. You just go up to the pizza thing and they give you whatever pizza you want, and a lot of stars show up. So that's really cool.
Yeah. And you can't go on the 80s cruise thinking about health because you eating pizza at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like,
we're living on it.
Yeah. Detox the next week.
I think I ate a lot of hot dogs too, like probably more than I've had in a year. You've been on a lot of these cruises now. What's your favorite artist that you've seen? I know this is hard to pick, or someone that you've met on the cruise. Artist wise, or a favorite concert moment.
So as far as when you meet somebody, like these people are just like hanging out, eating waffles or eating nachos, and you get to talk to them. And I've never met somebody who had bad vibes. But if I have to choose a favorite, I'll choose Berlin, simply because all of them were super, super cool, super, super nice. And, we've taken a liking to each other. So they would ask me to come sit with them at dinner, and we would just chop it up. So I would have to put them up there. As far as concerts go, I got to say Sheila E., because her concert was so intense. She was the first and I think only artist to not perform back to back. She had one night, and then she was like, okay, that's it. So if you're in the A show, you get to see me. In the B show, I'm doing it tomorrow. I'm not doing back to back. And her delivery was so intense. It was just like, yeah, that would be my favorite. Oh, I'll tell you a cool moment. So on the Sheila E. cruise, I played, I think it was Win, Lose, or Draw. It was sponsored by the cruise. It wasn't a board game on the side in like one of the conference rooms. It was like a cruise. And so I was on Sheila E.'s team.
Oh my gosh,
and
that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and we played against Grandmaster Flash.
Whoa.
And we beat him. Yes.
And she probably will remember that too. That was memorable for her too, I bet.
1,000%. When it was only 3 of us. And so whenever an answer came up, she would whisper, she said, okay, Jay, what's the answer? I'm like, I'm playing the game with Sheila E.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
There's so many crazy things that happen on the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about camp?
Okay. Yeah, we could talk about it. So,
Abby just went there.
Y'all, full disclosure, I sent Jay the questions and asked him, I said, do you want to talk about this or what? So Jay, you were a real team player in the camp challenge in 2022. And we were not on the same team, but we were cheering for you. Do you want to share that story?
Yeah, so I was coming from, I think, a wine tasting.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was coming from a wine tasting. And I think it was with Cameo, maybe.
Oh, cool. They were cool.
So anyway, I was hanging out with 2 people from there. My friend, I can't even remember. I know I'm on the boat, but I can't even remember the people at the time. They say, we're going to this camp thing in another place. Do you want to come with us? And I was like, yeah, cool. Why not? So I went in, and I'm not even sure if I was supposed to be on that team. So I went in, and I just sat down in a camp, with the audience, and the host said, all right, we need all the biggest guys from each team to get down to the floor as fast as you can to get your team points. And so I was on the second row, and I thought to myself, well, the quickest way to get down to the floor is to jump, because if I try to move through the rows, I'm gonna have to say, excuse me. So I saw this beam that was in front of me, and I said, I can clear that. So from the second row, I jumped and I went over the beam. I cleared it, and then I landed on the floor. But here's the thing. I didn't know the floor was wet. So when I landed on the floor, my feet came out from under me, and I just landed straight on my tailbone, like boom.
Ow.
And everybody say, oh, you heard the crowd say, oh, it's like a Snickers commercial, like, oh.
Now you played that off because we didn't realize you were injured at the time.
Oh,
you told us after the fact.
Oh, I mean, my manhood came in. I was like, you can't act like you hurt. But I was like,
you covered it well. Yeah, you covered it well because we didn't realize we were way up high on a different team. But we were like, oh, is that Jay down there? Uh-oh.
Yeah. And we got the points and we won.
Hey.
Oh, man. Then you went straight to the Infirmary. Yeah.
Was it worth it, Jay?
Oh, no.
Absolutely.
You did. Absolutely. I think your team won because of that. Honestly.
Yes.
Now, our team lost because of
me.
Of her.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Your team won because of you being a team player, and my team. There was so close between our team. Our team was the close second, and we lost by something like 10 points. You won for your team. We lost because I wouldn't take my bra off and throw it down on the thing. They were like, "Ladies, take your bra off. We'll get 10 points per bra or whatever it was." And we were down by 10 points. And I decided it was my fault. Because I was like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
And then later I was like, oh my gosh, I could have helped our team win. But I'm glad you won because you really took one for the team.
You did.
Thank you.
You deserve to win. All right, Jay. So what artist are you most excited to see this year?
Actually, I want to see 38 Special. When 38 Special was announced, I just said I'm in because that's like one of my favorite groups that I listen to anyway. And then I haven't seen Air Supply. Now, I'm not going as a couple like y'all, so I'm probably going to look ridiculous as this big black guy single sitting up there crying to Air Supply. But I'll be there. I'm all out of love. Nobody loves me. But it would be, those two. And maybe Sheena Easton. There's a lot of good bands on this year, so. Tiffany and Debbie Gibson were the two people that were on the 80s cruise when I first went.
Oh my goodness. On the same one?
On the same one. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's quite a headliner, both of them.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see? If you could pick your dream artist, who would you like to see on the 80s cruise?
Numero uno, Shaka Khan.
Oh.
She already does cruises. And to me, she does cruises. So, I would love to see her on there because she's the perfect mix of, she has fast songs and slow songs.
This year, the 80s cruise is going to Curacao and Aruba. And we are excited because this is our third cruise, as we mentioned, and we've never really officially done a excursion. So we've gotten off the boat. Last year with Jay, we went to Cabo and had a great time, went to Cabo Wabo and rode on a bicycle of sorts. Which was
a rickshaw. I've never done one of these before. Have you done this?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I'm just happy for the shade.
Yeah, it feels pretty good, honestly. But this year
we're doing it right.
Yeah.
So we've teamed up with Jay and we're going to do excursion at each place. So we're going to do in Aruba, I believe that's what we're doing. It's kind of a half boat, half submarine. Where you can go like under deck and you can kind of see what's going on. Hopefully we get to see some nice marine life and maybe some coral reefs. I don't know.
I want to see the sea turtles. I don't know if we'll see any, but I've heard that they're plentiful in that area. So we're going to keep our eyes out for sea turtles. And then Curacao, I think we're doing like a bus tour or something.
Yeah, it's really going to be fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
And I find it interesting that sometimes like on 80s cruise that some people don't even get off the boat, because it's just like it clears everything up because sometimes it's so crowded that while everybody's off the boat, you kind of get to do more stuff per se. So this is the first time that we're doing the excursion. And I don't know, I think that more people will be doing excursions because there are less ports.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm going to get off the boat. So yeah.
Well, Jay, it has been such a pleasure catching up with you. We can't wait to see you in person on the 80s cruise.
Yeah, definitely my favorite thing of the 80s cruise is hanging out with Jay. So
Me too.
looking forward to it. Can't wait to see you again, brother. It's going to be fun.
Yes. Bye, Jay.
See you later. Bye.